Ready? I guess the second board is right here.
I guess.
Do it. Our Woodland Hills Metropolitan District Special Board meeting for Thursday, February 6, 2020 is now in session. 6:01. Next item will be roll call. Troy Stinson present.
Sherry Ringen present. Neva Hill present.
Carl Legends present.
Russell Ryder present.
Hey. We do have a quorum. I'll motion that we amend the agenda to include an executive session at this time to discuss for determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations under CRS 24640224E pertaining to a new proposal from Four-Way Ranch.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Did you hear that?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're now in executive session. Okay. We are back in public session, and I need to make a motion to amend the agenda per executive session to include in executive session.
Sorry.
You're all right.
Please silence phones.
A portion two, executive session to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations under CRS 24640224E, and that item pertaining to the committee for the rec center renovation.
Now, I have a question for Mr. Bendel. Do you have your SDA book with you?
Nope.
I believe it has to be posted 24 hours before you hold an executive session. You can't hold one off the spur. So your executive session was,
I think Neva had it. Do you have the SBA handbook?
An executive session may be called at a regular or special meeting of the board by an affirmative vote of 2/3 of the quorum present, and that is persistent to CRS 24640224.
you didn't call for a vote. You said we're going into executive session, everybody leave. You did
We
not
amended.
call for a vote, that's an illegal session.
I hear you. I hear you.
We amended the agenda to go into executive session. It
We
was
did.
seconded and motioned.
And everybody voted, including Russell on the
And
phone?
everybody voted. Okay, so are we legal? Sure. Thank you. Okay, I have a motion on the table to amend that executive session to include the topic of the rec center renovation.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay. We'll go to President's welcome. Thank you all. Looks like a packed house tonight. Thank you for all coming. Would somebody like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Pace. All right. Okay, item 4, approval of agenda. Or I should say approval of amended agenda.
A motion approved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, item 5, approval and disapproval of financials. Those financials included, I believe, October, November, and December. It was tabled at the last meeting. Yes, October, November, and December.
A motion to approve the financials.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Item 6, personnel matter.
So I did receive a letter from Jerry regarding the non-renewal of my contract effective March 27th, 2020. So I do have the letter in front of me. Okay?
And that's pursuant to your current contract, that you be notified in writing prior to 30 days
Yes.
of the expiration.
Yep, yep.
And you were also the one that wanted this brought out in public session, correct?
Well, according to the SDA handbook, yes, when you discuss a personnel matter, it's to be noted what it is about, and then we're to have, the individual has the right to either decide yes in executive session or in personnel. I do believe that possibly I should have been informed a little bit before that night. That I can't attest to if it's anywhere written. I could not locate that.
I can tell you the discussion was to be to bring up another board director that just came on, up to speed.
Mhm.
I am assuming that you thought that we were calling you in to fire you, and that's not the case.
No, that my contract was not being renewed. Yeah.
And that's the only thing.
Yeah,
But
Can we know why?
we do
Yeah. We know
We
why?
appreciate your service.
yeah.
To
And
the
I do
district.
have a statement,
Okay.
if I may.
Absolutely.
Sure, so thank you for the opportunity to speak. Like, as I reflect back on the past 2 years at Park and Rec, I now recognize that the environment was probably not a healthy one for myself or for my career. I've experienced challenges here in my 25-plus career, working in the US and internationally. I worked internationally for 6 years. I have not encountered some challenges here I've never experienced in my career. Although my time on the whole has been very, very satisfying and productive, I'm glad to see some of my team members here. Thank you very much for coming tonight. For quite a while now, it's been less and less satisfying for me in my work situation. The direction's been challenging for me. In closing, thank you very much for the opportunity. I sincerely appreciate it. This place has always carried a special place in my heart. I was originally opened RCE back in 2003, so it's always carried a very special place for me. I want to thank you for the opportunity, and I am 100% committed to a very smooth transition with the entire team. You can rest assured on that. And you know, sometimes the Lord, there's a passing in the Bible that the Lord says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future." So this has been, I'm okay, that this is very, sometimes you're in an environment that you need to make that break, and this was, it's a good thing. So, but I just want you all to rest assured that I will make sure that the transition is extremely smooth, and there's, you know, no upheaval or anything like that. So, yeah, so thank you all very much, appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
We'd still like to know why the board isn't renewing the contract, though.
We're gonna leave it at your statement if you're okay.
Do you have somebody in mind to take her place?
We actually have, the letter was dated 31. When did the advertisement go out for Park and Rec Director?
Monday.
This past Monday, and that is on Indeed and
our website.
our
Are you
website.
going to hold public hearings on the interviews?
We are.
You don't have the application on Colorado Parks and Rec?
I don't think, is it on Colorado Parks and Rec?
I would advise that
Speak
that's
up,
where you're
please.
going to get
Probably need
people
to, probably
that
need to look at that.
have Park
Thank
and
you.
Rec experience.
Excuse me, Troy?
Yes.
I do have a statement about this subject. Would you want me to read it now or during public session?
Yeah, I have a question. We're gonna have some public comment on it, because I know I had something to say.
No, we'll have public comment when we get to public comment.
Okay,
And my
so you
public
want me
comment's
to
gonna be
wait?
really long.
Okay. Next item is item 7, and that's the discussion of the possible RCE expansion. And I say possible, so we have had the committee and that's been working on this for the better part of 8 months. It has went to design, and they presented designs and costs. And those costs are exceed at the moment on what we can do right now. It would add about $4.50 a month to everybody's bill in the district to pay for that expansion. And do we have that picture? Can you put that design picture up there?
I told you.
Nope.
Did you really unhook everything already?
Yes.
It's okay.
I told you we had a discussion coming up on it. Right now, the estimated cost to operate that facility, based on what this design is roughly between 300 and, correct me if I'm wrong, Corey, 328 to 418,000 a year?
Worst case, yes. Best case,
218.3.
yeah. Tight, that would be tight. So I would say somewhere in the threes.
About 3.
Yeah, say somewhere in the threes.
That's, I think that's good.
So we brought this out because we want the community's feedback on this. Because not only is it $4.50 a month for the RCE renovation, but you all are well aware of our bonds require us to raise the rates every year to make sure we meet that schedule of payment, of repayment. So even though this year we had no increase in water, we had a significant increase in wastewater rate at 5%, and we had a 3% increase in Park and Rec already this year. And that is keeping us right up there afloat, to where if anything catastrophic happened throughout the year, we'd be able to fund it within the district instead of having to go out to get more money. That's where we stand. The board has not made a decision on a direction, and which is why we opened it up to public discussion. I want to thank we have our 3 committee members. Fran, can you guys wave, say hi? That put this together along with CMG and Design Edge, right?
Designers.
There were 3 very different proposals brought forward for consideration to the board. One of which being the full renovation over there at Rec Center East, including a gymnasium, the dance studio, or the group fitness room, and a larger cardio and weight room, all in one. The cost estimate on that was
3 point.
no,
No,
I'm
the three
sorry,
was a combo.
2.4.
2.4 million. The cost for the cardio and weight room alone, which is this design here, is 1.25 million. The cost of just a gymnasium would be 1.8 million alone. So, those are current costs. Those are, and that is not with a lot of bells and whistles on the building. That is, with it being aesthetically matching to the building that we have there now. In the last week, they have run into an issue of, they did line locates out there and found out that the lines that are on the original plot for that area don't match where the lines were located. So the actual line locate, we have 4 utility lines that run underneath where that building is projected to be built. So that would be approximately, I believe, what was the estimate, Jerry? $80,000 to $100,000 in cost just to relocate lines.
There is another option that the building could actually be relocated itself.
Possibly, that's still,
Possibly.
yeah, we gotta look and see on
Possibly,
the ground.
yes.
The issue that we have as a board is, and why we're on fence, and I'll just put it out there, is operating costs. This board took office, a little over 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, it seems like forever. And we said we would not raise rates, other than what we're mandated to do. We've stuck to that, and I for one don't wanna raise your rates anymore. I'm a homeowner here, me and my family pay the rate, and I don't want my rate going up any more than it has to go up. But on the flip side, this district's falling behind, and it's not just the la-di-da stuff, but this district is falling behind on amenities. We are predicated on a recreational community, and we have some great trail systems, and we have facilities that are aging that we're trying to upkeep and catch up on and things. But we also don't wanna we're not asking for any more money from bondholders or developers or anything like that. We're trying to stay within what we can afford to pay for out of the district. Do any other board members have anything they want to add?
I think you covered it all.
The 1.25 was cost to build it,
Yes, that's
Yeah.
turnkey,
Cost to build it.
not including operating costs.
not including operating
So
costs.
that's where the rub comes.
Just for clarification, you gave 3 different amounts for 3 different plans.
I did.
What was budgeted for it?
It was based off of design, based off of the 2 surveys combined. There was 2 surveys, both surveys were taken into account, both surveys showed similarly same response. Now, as with any survey, I know I've talked to some people in the community, said they never seen a survey. And when they were on I think we had the last one on the website, it was a Survey Monkey. But based on those 2 surveys, that's what these designs were based off of. Was one, what was number 1, and I passed around the last survey at the last meeting, was the larger weight cardio room. They've redone the numbers and showed that number 2 would be the group fitness, the larger group fitness room, with number 3 being a gymnasium. And that's combining all the responses. I think there were 680 some responses. Now, given, we have what, roughly 7,700 people that live in the community, 27, what's our current number, 2741 households? So, and we get beat up. This has come to this point in this design phase now, I think, what, 3-4 times. And we're stuck on the, how do you pay for operating costs on this facility? And you get to this point and you say, we need the community's feedback on the direction that the board should go on this.
That's the $450 a month.
Yes, the
Operating costs.
$450 a month would put us at the high end of the operating cost for that facility. And that would be that design right there.
Question,
Yes, sir.
with the sewage treatment plant coming in way over cost, how are you gonna pay for this? Where's the money? There was no money when we had just the 11 million for the sewage treatment plant.
Most of this money came from your board, taking the operating cost overages every year that we put forward to capital improvements to the next year, that were carried on and put forward to allocated for this renovation.
So if you have a problem like we did when we had that severe rainstorm, you have no money to pay for it.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Our new admin director has redone the accounting in compliance with the auditors to where we don't, what the hell's the word for it? They don't allocate money out to the different enterprises and then bring it back to the general fund every year. Money allocated out stays in the enterprise system as per what is set up in the TABOR. The enterprise system is what is exempt from the TABOR. But you cannot go over a percentage even still under TABOR. So in current accounting practices, that is how that's done. And so the money is there for emergencies and also to be allocated for any improvements, reconstruction, any,
But I'm saying, if you allocate the money for the gym and start it, and you get a major catastrophe, you have no money.
no, not true. This project would go forward into, this is only based off of what we have through this last year. You can't allocate this year's funds until the end of the year, in next year. I'm stating that correct?
So that plays to my question, how much was allocated for this originally?
There's 1.25
1.25, okay, that was my question, because we were talking about how much a month it would cost everyone for overruns, and I was just wondering what gap we were filling at that point.
Not overruns, that's for operating
That's
costs.
operating, I
That's-
stand
You had
corrected.
asked the question at the last meeting about the operating costs, and that's what we got back.
Yeah, so the $450 a month is not to build the structure. The $450 a month is just the
It's to
the
run it.
operational cost.
I was
And I
just
wanna
saying
be
about it.
clear
No,
that
that's
that
all
is
right.
like the absolute high, that's the absolute
So
most.
Yeah.
That's why
Really,
we're
it's
putting, that's why we're
projected
putting
more,
everything out there now, because people start spreading rumors, and it's always a one-sided discussion out there in social media.
But
And
talking
we're
about-
not gonna engage in social media
We're talking about $4.50 a household a month?
a month.
On top of the
On top of-
57 and already.
On top of what you
In
already paid.
addition to your, whatever.
$5. It looks like a nice facility.
But understand,
It's a
but
Starbucks.
on the flip side of that, though, understand that there are people in the community that can't afford any increase, they're on a fixed budget.
Sure, and I'm not saying that to speak for everybody, but I'm personal, I'll give you $5. It looks nice.
Yes, sir.
The other side of that is, was there any study based on this with the rec center going in and being improved? Does that increase our home values?
I have never seen anything that says that it increases home values. Home values, based on the information and the scientific data that I look at, is a nationwide deal, and it's based on, inflation. We see everybody's house prices have gone way up. I mean, most of them, if they haven't doubled, have
That's
went
not
up.
from the rec center.
I can,
That's
I
not
can
from
tell
the rec,
you
that's
from-
without the rec center, so.
I can tell you from a realtor perspective, extra amenities are attractive to a homeowner. Is it going to increase
rec center-
10,000?
The rec center is
Most
only
likely will
built
not,
to build
but
the
it's very
build the
desirable.
selling of the property.
So now the operational costs we're going to, and thank you guys for doing that, we asked about it last time. So the operational costs, you're looking at a high side of $400,000,
Yes,
410, okay, what does it include?
that's,
Is that only parking?
A lot of it is staff.
I'm just
It's,
teasing.
yeah, your biggest cost, your biggest cost.
the majority is staffing. So here's what, we implemented this last year. The board got with the Parks and Rec director and said, we shouldn't have 20-year-old equipment.
Right.
And we directed that we started leasing equipment. One, we can get maintenance plans for it. Two, every, 3 years, it's replaced. So we pay a lot of money every month. People should be able to use new equipment. If we can't have new facilities, we should at least have new equipment. And that's happened. We have new equipment. I think we have don't we have more new equipment coming in?
For CCW, we'll get that at the beginning of March.
So this is with a lease, the operating cost would be with that leased equipment in there. I think it's $100,000 for all the leased equipment in that?
A year, not.
A year.
Yeah.
So there's a lot built into that. And part of that model was, I mean, you go over to Meridian Ranch and you look at a cardio weight room like that, and I don't think ours would be that big. It's maybe 2/3,
Yeah,
half,
maybe.
2/3, half. But it's all we can afford. It's all we can afford. So, good question though. I mean, it made us really go back to the drawing board and put a high and low end number on it.
No, that's fine, if that's the top end
Yeah,
number. I mean,
looking
since
at
we talked about
Meridian
last time.
Ranch, when the builder moves up, their rates are gonna go sky high.
Well, here's the flip side, folks. We always talk about, and we have people that bash us about, we are one of only the few districts in the state of Colorado that does not have a mill levy that pays for anything. We are strictly fee-based. With that being said, Meridian Ranch's rate is competitive to ours, but they still have a mill levy on top of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but their rate is being subsidized by
Yes.
the builder.
And they're also getting ready, the builder's getting ready to put in a second, rec center over there, but once that builder leaves, they're footing the bill on their own. So, this is what we were left with from our developer. And at the time, when they developed the place, you can't fault the developer. Developer develops to make money, that's how they make their living. So to fault a developer for having the money to develop a community and build a community is just wrong, because they're in that business to make money. And that's what they've chosen to do.
So now with the new building structure design, we kind of kicked around the idea last time of making something income revenue generating for the community. That's still a possibility for this building.
We've talked about several different schemes for revenue generating, and that included renovating this building out of district, bringing in out of district. I think the estimated out of district money per year would be what, 90,000
On the
estimate?
low end.
At the low end, to kick in for operating costs.
And the 450 does not include out of district.
No.
That is if there was no out of district.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
what
just
you
the,
said.
yeah, if
That's-
we
that's if
cover
you-
the cost.
So if you
of it.
sell-
What
Right, so if you-
guarantees that you can draw out of district people?
There are no guarantees.
We already have some.
We have some, I mean, some of the classes are a third to what, half full of out of district people using those classes, paying that
Yeah,
rate.
but a third is how many people? 2, 3?
I have 10. I have 8 that are out of district, just the two of us. For the few hours that we have.
No guarantees with that number, so, I
No,
mean,
and I
that's the
think if
thing.
broadcasted correctly, that could continue, that could possibly be.
Now-
Well, exactly,
Let's-
that's why we
If
didn't,
you
yeah,
have 8 now, you know, you
Let's-
probably.
that's
I
why we
like-
don't include that in
Can I
our
say something
estimate.
about
You
that?
can.
Because
You can.
Cory worked her fanny off to get Flex in there, which is the equivalent of silver sneakers. That is something that Meridian Ranch lost.
Right.
So people are coming over so that they can use their silver sneakers and Flex at our communities, at our rec center, as opposed to over there.
So-
When you have that kind of a program in place, now you have a magnet to draw people in.
Yeah, we used to live in Meridian Ranch, so I know all about that rec
Yeah.
center. That was the third house built.
Yes.
You know,
So,
So
having
the other
that
side of that
program
is
in
that
place is a draw.
For Woodman Hills, you know, I think having something that's not directly in competition with them, right, would make a whole lot more sense for our community here, so we can offer something, because we've got community members that are going from here and using their facilities to go work out at the gym. So why do it twice, right? Let's work on facilities that we can have that are good for our community, but not necessarily directly compete with someone just up the road. You know, it's like opening up, I don't know, 3 taco stands in
Yeah,
town.
but what
But wait a
happens-
minute.
What happens if you build this up and then Meridian Ranch comes here and our people can't use the equipment?
Well, there'll be a limit,
Yeah, you
we'll
can
set a
regulate
limit
that.
to how many,
You can regulate how many
yeah,
outside
we can
members
regulate how
use
many,
yourself.
it's not gonna be just, you know, open to everybody, it's,
And you can
there'll be a
regulate-
limit to how many out of
You can
district.
regulate times, there's a lot you
All
can
kinds of
do.
things.
But you can do stuff within the community as well. I mean, we've got a therapy center down here that we could actually partner up with, you know, for people that are getting therapeutic work done, that can't necessarily go into spring, you know?
Well, that's what we also envisioned in that building there, that there would be space to do exactly that kind of thing.
Some of the overage, right, let's assume that best case scenario is that, worst case scenario is everybody in the neighborhood pays $450 a month. And some people are not gonna be in a position to pay that, right, we understand that too. So there's that stress. But if you have the overage at $450 a month on the high side, right? What do we do with the overages at the end of the year? Because that'll push into the next year, following year, so we're looking at executing for 2020, and then that money would roll into 2021, you'd receive that return back, or you'd know what your overages were by 2022.
Yeah, 2022, because like what we've seen with the wastewater treatment plant, it went online in February, and we didn't know until we got towards the end of the budget programming for this year, what the actual costs were gonna be for that, to be able to project out. So, we went up, what, 100,000 in chemicals, and then the trucking out of the solids was another large cost that went over what we anticipated. So, yeah, there was a lot of, not so much growing pains, just some adjustments that had to be made.
Yeah, but looking at, Meridian Ranch right now, when I started there, it was $150 a month for service fees, and my wife and I went up there just to kind of take a look at the facility again and see what they've done for expansion, what people want for lazy rivers and all that stuff. And they've got it in that facility, but it's $176 a month. And if you live in certain parts of those areas over there, it's an additional rec center that we have for strictly those groups, like Stony Brook.
Stonebridge.
Has its own, so Stonebridge has got its own separate rec center, but you have to pay for the main rec center as well as pay for the private. So they're $250 a month. We're way competitive.
Go ahead.
Now? Okay. Early on, you stated that there was money allocated, 1.2, what was it?
1.25.
Okay, and the money came from where again? Just because I want to clarify this. I'm the guy that posts all these numbers on the website, so I wanna make sure I adjust them accordingly. How did that money come about now?
I've already explained that.
I
And
can
you've already
hear you, and
posted
that's
it.
why I was trying to get in and ask you to repeat yourself, and I couldn't do it.
And I'm not gonna repeat myself.
Oh, that's good, that's what I wanted to hear. I've been here for 14 years. This district wasn't built to do what we're doing now. The service plan, which a lot of people are not looking at, was meant to be 2,500 rooftops. And if they wanted to expand it, they would have to go to the Board of County Commissioners and request things. Several years ago, anybody that was in the room knew that I did this great presentation on a $54 million that they wanted to expand this place to. And I said no. And after it was all said and done, they didn't get their money and blamed it on me, okay, which was something that was brought up later on. So I want you to keep this in context. This district was only built out to be so many homes and the size of the rec centers. Something you also need to keep in mind is when they did that in the service plan, as I talked to Mrs. Gabardella today, this building's supposed to be open under not only the bonds, but it's supposed to be maintained and staffed. And that was the comments made at that hearing, because I was there, and they said, we're gonna have people in the building. Several years ago, they stopped staffing this building and locked the door. Okay, that was not supposed to be the case. I was in the room, I sat there and listened to it. So my question is, if we save $90,000 a year, or say 80 grand a year, putting people in here that are supposed to be here, what they're supposed to do is let people in the front door, it's a public building, okay, and have access to that room over there, which used to be unlocked, and then have staff downstairs cleaning. My question is, and I think I was gonna ask Ms. Gabardella tomorrow, because I'm a little busy today, is that if we're not doing it, because as stated last year, or the year before, correct me, the reason why we don't do it is to save money, but we're still supposed to be doing it. So why aren't we? And if we're not, then explain to me how that's not gonna happen sometime up the road, whether it be here, there, or anywhere. There was still supposed to be people in this building. And I was at all those meetings with the old board and everybody else. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: the stories they told then, did they change now? Or are they gonna change again? $450 a month now sounds great, and some people are gonna say, him and haw. Okay, I'm gonna make the season everybody. They're gonna get their building, okay, and blame it on the fact that the last board come up with the money. I don't do that. Okay, a lot of people aren't gonna look for a $62 or $63 a month bill. What they have not done is listen to the survey. 80% of the people said no. Now, the 20% that did say yes had a maximum cap on price. I remember the survey, I took it. So the question is, what about those other 450 people, 688, do the numbers, I'm sorry if I don't have them straight, but why are we not listening to them as well? So we're gonna get a new rec center, that's what I can hear now today. Okay, so now we're just trying to figure out how to man this building, like this building isn't manned. And they said they would do it, so I'm gonna bring it up tomorrow's Friday or whatever. I'm going to the county commissioner meeting and ask them why Woodman Hills was allowed to violate the agreement they made to keep this building open. Because they're gonna be surprised at that, because they're gonna go back, and I'm gonna bring them the document that says they were supposed to. So if you're gonna ask us to do something, then start staffing this building, okay, and open it the way it was supposed to be done. It's a public building, and just under the terms of the service agreement, it's supposed to be open. So I'm not asking them to do anything more than what they've already agreed to do previously. So what makes you think that at some point, this isn't gonna happen again over there, or over there, or over there? We've already had our services cut once, remember? 1 to 4, was it 1 to 4, 1 to 5, Ms. Gabardella? Was it one, the 4 hours a day? It was 4 hours a day, the building wasn't even open to save money. So, okay, so, folks, we're not talking about what they didn't do, but actions speak louder than words. The actions of previous board members and everything else is, well, we're trying to cut costs and save money. Well, what's to stop them from doing it again once they get this building up? That's the factor. Now, anybody has any questions for me, you know where I am on this, but I wanna hear from this
So
board.
what you're saying is we should never try to save money?
I'm not talking about saying, no. This building's supposed to be open.
It is
Reality-
open,
No, it's not.
24/7 downstairs.
This building's supposed to be open all the
You need
time.
a key fob to get in, it's not open.
This building is not open to the public at all, and they told the county commissioners this building would be open during the business hours. They would have an attendant here, just in case somebody came
Who
upstairs.
told the county commissioners that?
The board, the district did. Oh, yeah, there was an agreement made. That agreement was a resolution that when they opened this building, under the service plan, even the amended service plan attempt, that they would always have somebody here, this door would always be unlocked for the use, and they would use, I don't know what they called that room at
And
the
the
time.
weight room would be an attendant at the door.
No, that was after the fact. This
And is
was-
this
Oh,
in the
okay.
service plan?
Yeah, it's actually it was actually agreed to when they tried to amend it, because people were complaining that the buildings
Is it
didn't have access.
resolution or it's not in the service plan?
No, it was what resolution was it, Jane?
Well, the
This-
use
It
of the.
wasn't in the service plan, this,
It's not in the
we
service
already
plan.
had this building in the
Okay,
service plan.
the service plan had this building spec'd out, and you know what, I'll tell you what, rather than have people call me a liar, I'll post it on my website, and then you're gonna see what was in the service plan. And then the resolution was, okay, but we're gonna keep these buildings
You'll have
open.
to send it to me, I don't look at your
Yeah,
website.
maybe this board didn't know that, so instead of being uppy, I would.
Well, I'm not uppity.
Hold on, I would love if you could pass that document on somehow so that they can investigate it, if we assume that they're going along with this thing you're talking about.
There's nothing to go along with, this building
But
was
if you
supposed
tell
to be
this new
open.
board, maybe they'll look into that actually and
If the
appreciate you helping.
county
them look
commissioners
into it.
approved, you should be able to
This
find
isn't an
it.
uppity
I'll be able
thing,
to find
what
it.
I said was, they've cut the hours at that building to save money, which wasn't supposed to be the case.
Okay,
This board
all right.
is not-
They had a
Okay,
chance.
okay, all right. Okay. That,
They didn't understand.
okay, let's get back to what we're here to talk about here. Not- Yes, ma'am.
If you're gonna build something new, would it close this current open centers during that time?
No,
Okay, that was it.
no. Well, I mean, it wouldn't close them, but as you've seen, we've increased the hours.
Right.
We're trying to keep hours open as long as we can financially.
I just meant like, if you're having to, tear down walls and attach to it, is it gonna close for a significant amount of time?
No, it's a separate building.
This only attaches through a walkway. It only attaches through a walkway.
So the main facility will be full function while that's being built.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
and
then when it gets attached to the.
The only other drawback, hang on here real quick. The only other drawback is our current facility is max load electric right now. The electricity on that main building is at its limit, for capacity. So it would, whether we tie both buildings in together and increase the load carrying capacity for both of them, or have the new one have its own service, would be up to, the contractors, and Jerry's got electrical engineers looking at that now, so. With the line locates and everything, they're already looking at any added costs or any variances in there.
Do we have LED lights in that entire building?
That brings us to another topic that we had talked about the other day, that I believe you had sent me the email about, was trying to go to solar for these rec centers, to be able to save money that way by having solar capacity for those buildings in the future. Now, some things like the wastewater treatment facility, that's not possible with that building. But as far as our admin building, this building, and those buildings over there, it makes sense. And I sent that over to Jerry for them to look into, with MBEA, on what the cost would be on that. And then the board will consume that once it's brought back to us fully fleshed out. But that was a very good, thank you for that input. That was,
a couple of things you all need to keep in mind is that this would not be a 6 o'clock to 8:30 operating hours like you currently have at RC. Something like this would be a 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. because so you can get in there, get your workout in, either shower there or go home and shower and get to work. Because if you're doing it here in CCW, then you can do it over there. So your hours would be extended, hence an increase in your operating costs.
So essentially, you're looking at the capability of actually increasing more homeowners to actually use this facility then?
Absolutely.
So, has anybody looked into, would homeowners use this more often?
I can tell you from my own personal perspective, several years ago when the East Rec Center was closed during the daytime, like you were discussing, Ron, I personally, as a homeowner, went and paid for a lifetime. Okay, that was another $200 out of my pocket. And I'll tell you, $4, I do not in any way, shape, or form cringe at.
Look, when we
Okay.
put new equipment in at RCE, and you're just talking 4 treadmills and a couple of bikes and an elliptical, we saw our attendance go up in the use of that small room.
Right,
Because
and,
it's newer equipment, they, you know, this kind of
right,
thing.
and I'm saying that,
If you build it, they will come.
I'm saying that I am somebody who utilizes the pool at 6:15 in the morning.
Yep.
And I am very thankful for that,
Yep.
because my husband and I like to get that workout in before we have to go to work.
15
so
minutes
for-
makes a huge difference.
It absolutely does, and so as you're discussing the closure from 1 to 4, number one, that's no longer existing, okay? It's now open from 6 until whatever time at night. And then also, number two, I'm just telling you from my own personal perspective, that 24 hours access here, whether with the key fob or not, is an improvement. Okay, because there are people who have to work out or prefer to work out at 9, 10 at night or 3 in the
Yeah.
morning. That is an added benefit,
Yeah.
that they have that key fob, that they're able to do that.
Just from September to December, keeping it open 12 to 4, we had 228 users. It surprised me. I didn't think we'd get them, and we did. And
I'm
that's
telling you,
not
when
including your
I
class.
leave there at 7 o'clock in the morning, I can tell you I see people on the cardio equipment, and
Yeah.
there's also people in the pool.
Yeah.
As we're leaving, I'm seeing other people come in.
We're not getting to use it
And I
from
no
8
longer
to
have to pay
8:30.
for lifetime, and I'm thankful for that.
I'm sorry to go back to an earlier question. You're talking about LED lights and electrical. I would love to help the board with that, because, or the committee, because I do side work for an LED lighting manufacturer. So if you can give me a lighting schedule, I can get a value engineered package that'll decrease our lighting costs.
The problem with all that is we are bound to go through bidding process on this by law.
And, I mean, they
So
can submit
all
a
of
bid
that
just like
has to
anybody
be
else.
sent out
Yeah.
for bid. Hence the projections of the actual, to have everything ready to go out to bid.
Let me see if I can find the scope of where we are at the moment. We have three options. One is $1,250,000 for weight room cardio, and that's, if I'm paraphrasing correctly, where the subcommittee has come in. Did I do that right?
Yes.
All right, so that's option one.
Cardio, weight, and fitness. That
Okay,
building.
cardio, weight, and fitness, this building.
Yes.
That's option
That's
one.
that
What the board is struggling with, we have option two, which is 1.8 million and includes the gym. One of the issues the board's been struggling with is trying to get the gym in, if you will, into the 1.25 and struggling with whether you can do that or not. Is that fairly stated?
It cannot be
Did
done to
that
include
second
the
option,
Right.
the 1.8 include
We're
the
not
gym?
struggling.
No, 1.8
No, the
is
1.8
just.
1.8 was
the
just,
gym.
it didn't include the gym.
No,
So
it
you
does.
were wrong.
No.
No.
Just the gym.
1.8
Oh, I'm sorry,
is
yes,
just the gym.
I'm sorry. I'll come, because the third
1.25
option
is
But
that.
he was saying it included the gym.
Oh.
Well, he misspoke.
is for the gym, and then 2.4 million is everything, it's the gym and the whole package. So that's what the board is struggling with, is those three options, just so I'm presenting what the issues are. And then, no matter which one of those options are picked, there's another 100,000 regarding these utility lines, with maybe the caveat of moving the building. So there's another 100,000, which applies to all three of those. And then lastly, there's the $4.50 a month for operating costs. So that, hopefully I've presented what the overall picture is to everybody. And that's what the board is struggling with, is which one to do. Which all goes back to which one can you afford.
Which is why our recommendation was the 1.25.
That
That
is
is
option one.
option one, with
No.
and I wanna be clear that, it was suggested that that be a phase one, and there would be a phase two if it was chosen to be done at a later date. There's no commitment to, well, there's no commitment to anything right now, but there was no commitment for a phase two. However, this building design allows for that to happen, just as this design allows for the construction to happen without closing the rec center. A phase two, which would be the gymnasium, can be done without closing the rec center or the current expansion.
So hopefully everybody is clear what the issues are. And Troy has been asking for your reactions to those three. And we've defined what the three alternatives are, we've defined what the utility costs are, and we've defined what the $4.50 a month is for. So that's what the dialogue is about, which way to go. With them struggling over wanting the gym, but not seeing the money to pay for it. Okay?
Correct, and the reason that, the recommendation was the cardio and weight was based off of the surveys. Those were, out of the three things, the cardio, weight, and gym, the cardio and weight were the first two, and so, yes, and so, yeah, and the fitness, and so that is why.
Yeah, the weight room and cardio was 79.18%. The fitness classes was 27.8, so it's half, 57 roughly. And then the third was the basketball, volleyball courts. That was the third alternative. So anyway, I'm just trying to outline, folks, what the issues are, so everybody's clear what we're talking about.
When we say cardio room, because I'm not clear, even though
Is that like what
my wife's on the board, because I don't get into this, I need clarification. We say cardio room, we talking a jazzercise room, or like downstairs, a cardio room with a machine?
Machines.
I just wanna make sure that.
Yeah, we're talking about treadmills, bikes, weight equipment.
That, because I know we have two jazzercise rooms,
Yes.
one here.
So if the gym-
That's the number one complaint that we get every month, is the constriction on this room downstairs.
You can't do free weights in this room.
And how do you fix that? Or where do you go from there?
So like what's the pros to the gymnasium that it's such a valid point in making so many decisions on it in such a low percent?
The point is, you don't know how many chances you get at doing any renovation. We don't know what next year's gonna bring in future, costs, future inflation. We don't know. We can't predict the future. So we're trying to get as much bang for our buck as we can to maximize the money. If you've got to allocate forward 5 years down the road to pay for something, I mean, you're talking 5-6 years down the road, things can change drastically in that period of time. So,
Basketball court would be good for the children in the neighborhood as we get more and more families in here in the wintertime and stuff. I just wanna put that out there on the table for people to also have some compassion.
I have a 13-year-old, and what he can do at the rec centers, unless he's with me, is go to the pool.
That's why we did not completely discount the idea of a gymnasium. The issue really is, gymnasium cannot be paid for at this time.
I mean, it sounds
It's
like.
simple.
Also, please keep in mind, I hear maybe a phase 3. I'd like people to open their mind to the possibility of more of that, because we can also do more community events, like put in a basketball program or something, and that could also bring something into the.
What is the phase 3?
Well, I guess you're saying that the first two things, number one on the list was the cardio room and the gym, and then.
Okay, so this proposal right here, okay, is for a new fitness room that would be, your dance classes and all, exercise, group fitness, all that other stuff. The second portion is the, cardio and weights and all that other stuff.
But
Okay.
that's all
That's
one
not what
phase.
the
It's
poll
all
said.
one
It's all
phase.
one phase.
Well,
Yes.
it's all one phase, okay? The second phase, if they wanted to do it in the future, when we were discussing the design for this, okay, we knew we couldn't afford both. The integrity of the committee that we had with the board was that we weren't going to bond holders, we weren't going into debt for this, period, the end, okay? And so we had to keep that in mind. But we did not in any way, shape, or form want to discount the fact that people do want a gymnasium, they wanna play volleyball, the kids wanna shoot hoops. We get that, it's not affordable. So this building was designed so that in the future, if it becomes affordable, you could do that, okay? And so we had to take what people were saying was the number one, okay, and number two, and we put that together with what was available now, and
And I agree with that, because I'm a firefighter, and I try to use the gym at some possible. Falcon High School kids, we do need another weight room and a cardio room. I just wanna make sure it's not like the one wooden room with the mirrors, because every time I've gone, I don't.
So with option one, there's still a possibility for a gymnasium eventually with the.
So-
eventually,
Okay,
That's
option one.
Right,
So yeah, this makes it, I mean, thank you very much, Ted, for distilling this down to 3 very simple options. Based on what everybody said with the survey, we have enough money for option 1, we don't have enough money for option 2, and we certainly don't have the money for option 3. And based on the board's commitment to not go into debt and not ask for more money, which I thank you very much for. I think this is a real simple shot, option one. And this will, it'll satisfy what the survey said, it won't overrun our budget, and the operating cost is what we need to deal with. And I wanna thank the board very much for not including possible revenue generation in the operation cost number, because that is an unknown unknown. There's 16 different ways that we could generate revenue, and 50 of them that we can't. But if we know that if not a single dollar is generated by this, and it costs us $450 a month, that makes it, I think it's a real simple decision. If if the board has decided that we're going to put an extension on, we have a proposal that fits the budget that has been set and allocate money that's been allocated, and two that don't, that's real simple. And thank you, bitchin', let's do it.
Well,
Or at least we can move past the.
But I will
these are
also
options.
say that, we really wanna try to maximize the money. So, and I will be the first one to say that I've been pushing harder than anybody for a gymnasium.
Where are you
One,
gonna get the money from?
and that's the thing. Do you build now, or do you continue to try to allocate money to build the whole thing at once? No. I just,
Well, if we
It-
put
it-
it off and have to allocate money, it's probably 5 years in the
it's a
future.
coin flip, whether you can allocate money or
A lot more
not.
expensive.
Which is true too.
I
Go
would
ahead.
also say I'd be thankful that we get at least this next phase, because I'm afraid that down the road, when new boards come in, it may not happen at all. So I appreciate that too.
Yes.
Stan?
The $100,000 in line action additional cost, that we got on that other area, have we looked at other possible areas of being able to put that building?
That discussion is going forward,
Sort that out currently.
because they just discovered the utility
Yes.
line issue, and so now that's being considered about moving.
That
this
was
to-
that was a kink between now, because they did the line locate right before the soil test. I think they assumed that the lines were where they were,
According to the
according
plans,
to the
they
original
weren't
plans
there.
for the building, that the lines were where they were originally located.
But they
Were
weren't,
not,
Supposed to be located.
We're supposed to be low.
where they were
was the-
supposed to be
one of
located.
the oh shit moments.
That's known as field adjustment. It is.
True.
Yep.
So
So
then,
alternate sites are being investigated.
so you're gonna have an alternate site here, and I don't know whatever land, with the hell else, it's
Ba- Basically, it'll be looking at that area over there to see where that building can fit in. But you also have to remember that because we're also looking at future, if it's possible to future expand, Parks and Rec and things, that you have to put the building in a location to where you have the available space. I mean, God's not making any more land. And we only have so much that's in the district, that's owned by the district, so you have to figure in parking. There's 70 more parking spaces that have to go in for just this facility, this expansion. So, and those are requirements, so, go ahead.
Is it possible for the time being, like with doing, like if we went with option one, where there's a chance where there's any of this, not necessarily extra money, but budgeted money, that, and not discrediting that we need a place to go for kids inside, like in the winter, I get that. But for a big portion of people who wanted the gymnasium was to have a basketball hoop. And so is there anything where we could build an outdoor basketball hoop but still allow more community events in this center during the winter for families? That's more free cost, that's no cost?
There is a basketball
Yeah.
court outdoors right now over by, what is it, Horseshoe Park or
Horseshoe
something
Park.
like that.
Yeah.
It's not, it's
Here.
definitely not as nice as what you could do in a gymnasium.
Well, and also, a point was brought up at the previous meeting that they're gonna take the existing cardio room inside the rec center and
Turn it into a community
repurpose it
room.
for something, for teens and older kids to like, either have ping pong or something for an
Yeah, and
indoor
that's something
space for
that's
kids.
real
But, yeah,
low cost.
multi-purpose room, so that by putting this in, they can take the cardio equipment out of that room, thus opening it up as a multi-purpose room for different
Right,
age
so
groups.
installs a cardio room that's 24 hours here and now 5
And
a.m.
now-
to
See,
10 p.m.
I think when we first
So there's
moved here,
definitely things moving.
when we first moved here, I think there was what, a pool room? There was a pool table and some other stuff up here that's since gone. So, I mean, there are options going forward. But the problem we have is, we either have to go forward, or we have to say, hey, we're done with this. Because we're getting to a point where every time you fire this up,
Costs money.
it costs money, it's not free. So every time you fire this up, you spend money. You spend money to get here, to where we're at tonight. And then you either use that money as part of the project, or if we stop and don't go forward with anything, we just spent,
$100,000 in surveys, you got.
yeah, we've spent money on all this stuff. Go ahead.
So why can't we take option one and redesign it on the inside to make it into a gymnasium as opposed to a jazzercise room? We already have 2 of those workout rooms, one over here and one at the east.
The space isn't
So
anywhere near
what
large
I'm
enough.
saying is that you can redesign the inside of the building, you can have the weight room, and then you can put the basketball court, and then you can have all these new schools that we have out here use the gymnasium for their schools and for basketball games, they can do volleyball games. I mean,
It's not
we
big
have
enough.
an older
You have
community
to
and we
enlarge
have
the
a younger
building.
community.
That entire
And I
building
think
is
putting in
big
this
enough.
dance floor room is
Well-
looking at the
But that
older
dance floor,
community.
That dance
not
floor room
Hang on.
is not even a
It's
fraction of the size of what you need.
Plus you have the height of the building,
Yeah.
which increases the cost. That is why that we.
But you can still redesign the building to make it better for everybody and not just the older community for their
Okay,
dance classes.
so can I explain that, please? So when we look, let me tell you, we did our due diligence on it, okay? We've talked to multiple companies, we've done surveys with steel companies. The problem with that is raising it is an increased cost, okay? We need larger rooms for programs that are already existing,
For
okay?
the population of 8%. So all the school going kids, they don't get anything. They get an outside basketball
We're
court
not,
and worship
we're
park.
not suggesting that they get nothing, okay?
I don't
We-
think my son is gonna wanna take my dancing classes at 13.
Okay.
I'm just saying that.
I understand that, you need to understand what I'm saying. We're not saying that a gymnasium is not important
No, it
or
isn't.
valid.
But if this goes to phase 2, I can guarantee you it's not gonna happen.
You know what,
Phase
and
1 is only gonna happen.
you know what, and
The
people,
floor
then
plan of
phase
that
2 will
isn't
never happen.
anywhere
and
near
people
the
have been
size of the
saying that
gymnasium.
about phase one
we-
for how many
We figured
years?
it
Where
out.
does
We
it
need
say in that
10,500
survey
square
that they
feet for the gym
want
and the weight card.
Okay.
It didn't say that.
And that's
Okay, but
10,000.
here's the thing, it's not a jazzercise room. Do you know how many fitness classes we, Corey, how
No,
many
it's
fitness classes do we
86
have?
by
And how many kids are
It's
in
not
those fitness
10,000.
classes?
Yeah.
And
How
that's
many
in
middle
the
school kids are in
gymnasium,
those?
you'd have to
How
put
many
some
elementary
straight
kids
down.
are in
If
those
there's
classes?
not the money, there's not the money.
But if I have another
Okay,
room.
even if we didn't do cardio or
I don't
fitness
wanna talk
and we
about it.
did just gymnasium,
Thank you.
we don't have enough
Thank
money.
Thank you.
$1.7 million,
I'm just-
we don't.
Okay, okay.
I already know. I know. She did.
We're gonna put this to bed here in a minute, because we need, it's already, go ahead.
Folks, there's no sense bickering back and forth. They're gonna build a building. The size of the building's what's gonna matter. They already have the money, they've made that clear. What they need to know is if $4.50 is gonna break people. Okay, here's the issue. There's no empirical evidence anywhere that it's gonna raise the value of your home. Nowhere. No one can ever make that claim. I wanna see them make it. I know
I
that
can
for a
tell
fact.
you as a realtor, when I hand over HOA docs and people look at it and say, wow, I get this. And what's happening right now, Ron, is people are saying, look what I can get at Meridian Ranch. They're not saying, look what I can get at Woodland Hills.
I wasn't doing an
That's
adversarial
a-
conversation. What I was stating is the fact that the assessor's office has done their reassessment, and I went around to other areas before I opened my pie hole and checked out the costs of the values of the homes in the area. So even if we add the amenity, what we're arguing over is simply this, so, because you don't wanna be arguing with them over a class here or where the kids can go. Because I've heard this all mentioned before, is that we're all about the kids, but we're also getting older. So what's gonna happen is, what we're gonna leave them is something we make a decision on today. $450 now is gonna translate into $1050 later. I can tell you that. Having been here 14 years, I've seen it. And not only that, the bonds require them to raise the rates, he said that. Now, I don't know what the next
That's a
rates
different
rate's
subject,
gonna,
though.
right, am I correct? What? The
That's a
next,
different
we're gonna have to
subject.
have another increase because of the bonds, correct? Because payments due, or is that wrong?
We are mandated by the bonds to raise the rates every year.
So, what you have to
We
either
don't
deal
have a
with
choice.
is a $63 a month bill,
That's the
technically
guarantee.
speaking, or 62,
Yes.
or nothing.
But how much of that's actually going to Park and Rec right
Well,
now?
unfortunately, I don't have that schematic, because I haven't been able to look at documents, because I'm not being allowed to, so once I
Okay.
get them, I will. So,
Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
That's
You know
enough.
what's increased the value of my home? My home improvements. Things that I've done to my home, things that I've built, expanded, built out my basement. That's what's increased the value of my home.
and she's right.
Yep.
Not a rec center, she's right.
next.
Well,
Okay.
when you go to sell your house.
Okay.
You're gonna have a
Hey,
square footage.
all right, so, all right, we wanna thank you for the input, that was the whole point of the discussion on that tonight. We have a lot of data from both the, we have basically put, froze the, CMG, and from any further activities until we have come up with a decision, whether it be at the next meeting or, we'll put it on the agenda and make sure we put out enough notice, so that the, board can actually, if you know people that have input, please have them email us, so that we can, yes.
How are you gonna, at what point are you gonna have a decision meeting, and how are you gonna come about that decision? Is it gonna be a show of hands, is it gonna be secret ballot?
Yeah, how do we actually
The decision will be, you guys wanna do it at the next meeting? I mean, that's 2 weeks, or that's 3 weeks, 21 days, 27.
It's done by a vote of the board.
It'll be done by vote of the board, whether
In
it's
2 weeks.
How can you make the decision in 3 weeks when you don't know where you're relocating?
We'll have the information from them they'll send us the information by then to be able to review. And then if we need to have a work session before the meeting, we'll have a work session.
Yes.
Just real quick, if it's okay, could he just read again what that, thing was again, and you read out what people had asked and what the percentage was? I just.
Yeah,
The survey.
The percentages.
Yeah, we need those percentages again one more time.
Sure. I think it was just up on the board.
Can you put it up there, Jerry?
Yeah, just put it up.
I just wanted to see what order that was. I'm not sure.
Can I ask my question in between this?
You can.
So if you have, you're gonna do the phase one, and then you're just kind of making that space for maybe a gym later, what is the time frame for later that you have in mind based on money coming in?
It depends on when the money is.
It would depend on, basically, money coming in, if there's money left
could be
over at the
5
end of the
years.
budget year. It
But
could be
I-
5 years, it could be
Okay.
6 years.
But I will
That's why
say
I
that,
wondered if you'd already projected that out or anything.
I will say though, the costing of the phase two has been projected out to cost up to 5 to 7 years.
5 to 7, we went 5 to 7 years out on costing
So
for
that is
phase
what
2.
the cost is projected out.
Okay, that was
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So to be clear, the majority wants to weight room and cardio fitness, which is treadmills and stuff.
Yes.
So that's what's gonna be the focus on if the decision is made, that's what it's going with, it's.
Yeah, that was number one, weight room and cardio.
Group fitness is second, and the basketball and the walking track are tied for third. If you're looking at those red numbers.
So that would, okay, so that would put the gym below eventually we do another group fitness, that one, of those classes, okay.
And that's why the group fitness is built into that building.
What's built into what building?
This plan right
This
here.
plan.
Into that first phase.
Into that first phase. The first phase would address the
One and three.
most wanted one and the second most wanted one.
And it fits in budget.
Okay, I thought the weight room and cardio were 1 and 2.
No,
No, we combined, and then they wouldn't go.
Wait,
Because you
Cardio
always have,
would be one
you always have a weight and a cardio room as one, you would never have a weight room over
We
there.
have a weight room and cardio room right here.
Yeah,
it's
but
two.
that's, yeah.
That's where I.
Phase one is designed to address what people want the most and what people want the second most.
So I brought this up at the last meeting, but after the board does decide to go forward, hypothetically, if they do, we're gonna have like a community information night where there will be pictures and possibly hot dogs and microphones so everyone can complain. Well, I mean, and set up microphones so all the residents can complain, and then the board has decided, I'm not being
We'll
facetious, I
have-
think it's a fine idea.
Yeah, and people weren't happy.
We would have like final renditions.
Yeah,
of what
I'm
it's
saying to
gonna look
get the community excited and show pictures in color and be like, this is what it's gonna
Show
look
and
like,
tell.
get
Yes.
excited. I'm not being facetious,
No, I
and
get
really
it. I
like,
get it.
let them get out there BS,
That's
because the
exactly
duly
what
elected board voted, and then we can move forward and
Yeah, look, the
make sure
render-
everybody knows what's
Yeah,
up.
and the renderings can actually have a layout of the fitness and cardio room, it can have pictures of people doing a class.
And I think that'd be fantastic to
somebody drinking out of a
communicate to the
water
residents, like,
fountain,
be
you know.
excited, this is happening,
Yep,
everybody,
so
yay.
you can go all out.
And the hot dogs.
So in 3 weeks, we
I think so
should,
too.
3 weeks.
I think so.
3 weeks.
Yeah,
Get
three
next
weeks.
regular board meeting.
Yes, they're gonna put it on the
You're
agenda.
figuring
They're
in
gonna put it on the
3 weeks,
agenda for
we
next
will
time.
have
Yes, we will put it on the agenda for next time.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah, we can
It'll
get
be,
things done.
it'll be at the next meeting.
As we get new information and we get the figures for everything, let's put together just a short work session. Just a very short work session so that we can all sit down and go over all that, so that we can make an educated decision.
And folks, we're sorry you all had to wait outside so long, but you can see from this dialogue that the same dialogue was going on in the executive session, trying to sort through where to go. So we're sorry folks had to wait, but you see what we've been struggling with. So we apologize for the wait, but it had to happen, so,
Wheels of government grind slow.
okay.
Well, we have, the honesty of the matter is, we have vendors that don't fall under Cora and don't want to be in public session. So, and that's perfectly legitimate reason, so.
Contract negotiations.
Yes.
And I for one am excited for the addition, and I think it's gonna be really cool. It'll free up one of the rooms inside the current rec center that we can use as a multipurpose room for other age groups, and, you know, whatever.
All kinds
And
of
whatever.
stuff.
And so, I think it'll definitely help, help what's going on.
We'll do four-way announcement here in other business on what we're proposing back to the four-way. Is that all right?
So, if
Okay.
it's on the agenda for next time, sounds like that's a wrap.
It will be on the agenda for next time. So let's move on to other business. There was another topic that we had discussed in the executive session that we're ready to bring out into public session. And I'll let Ted go into that, and that's the issue of Four-Way Ranch. As many of you are aware, we have had an agreement with Four-Way Ranch for years. And they were to pay approximately $1.5 million of money towards our wastewater treatment facility. They made the original $213,000 payment, but have not paid a dime since, according to the payment schedule. This board had sent them notice back in October or September,
September, I think.
that they were in default and that we were going to terminate the IGA with them. So, in response to that, meeting took place with them, with committees, and they sent back a proposal a couple weeks after that. The original proposal was that they basically pay us $120,000 by the end of the year, and then they would get back to us on a payment schedule.
In July.
In July. That proposal was rejected. They came back with a new proposal, and that new proposal, I'll let you go over the details of it.
We've got there's been a fair amount of negotiation going on back and forth. We haven't seen any money, so it's just talking, in my opinion. We did get today, though, a very specific proposal, and that proposal, which is what we went over, is a payment schedule. And the payment schedule is $150,000 April 1, 2020, $175 August 1, 2020, $200,000 December 1, 2020, $225,000 April 1, 2021, $250,000 April 1, 2021, and $275 December 2021, and $287.5 April 1, 22. Basically $1.5 million. Okay. In the discussions, I think there's an agreement to proceed with this because we've got ZIP thus far, and this is $1.5 million of real-time money. There is a statutory provision which provides the district the ability to put a lien on the property. And this agreement, this payment schedule, will be backed up by the understanding that if the payments are not made in time, the district's gonna go forward with them for foreclosure, basically for default. So and it cannot be discharged in bankruptcy if they chose to file bankruptcy for the project. So that's where we are right now. No taps. Their initial IGA is for 500 taps. Under this suggestion that I'm gonna.
To wastewater, not to water.
Yeah.
To wastewater.
And we're not going to give them any taps until they pay that $1.5 million. So it's not pay as you go. It's, use the expression I use all the time, no ticking, no washing. no money, no taps. Okay, so that's where we are right now. So, it's been a difficult process, but that's where we are right now. It's, I think the board is agreeable to proceed with this alternative, so that's what I'm gonna be trying to nail down. We'll be amending, hang on a second, we'll be amending the IGA, to address these elements of it. So A, a payment schedule, B, a lien, C, if there's a default, we're gonna go forward with a foreclosure, and no taps until the whole dollar number is paid, which is April 2022. No taps till then. And if they do pay, then we're okay with 500 taps. Okay, so that's where we are. Ron?
Mr. Porter, go first, so you're raising
I'm
I
sorry.
believe in the bond issues that we had to wait until the CDPHE approved the lift station. The lift station has to be built before anything else.
Okay, thank you, I didn't know that.
They have permitted the lift station and asked for an extension through May
Yeah.
on the lift station.
Well, the CDPHE wouldn't allow us to continue and finish the bonds until they had approved that lift station. So that has to be done before anything else.
Okay, thank you. We're not planning to give them any taps for
And
2
I
years.
believe the lift station at that time was a little over $2 million.
I
They
think
would have built it and turned it over to us.
then they're at 2.5 million, and that is still in the IGA.
Yeah.
That will not change. All we are doing is adding an addendum to the IGA
For payments.
for this payment schedule to recoup actually the number was 1.471 million, I think, that they actually owed. And that was actually set aside, the district had to set aside 1.471 million to, basically as an insurance policy in case they didn't pay, and they have not paid. And we've been very clear that we have paid. Our district, we have paid. We paid their share.
But if they pay that, then they won't build a lift station, so therefore, everything's dead.
No.
The lift station provision in the IGA stays the same.
Yeah, but they have to build the lift station
Yes,
before
right.
anything.
Which
Well, if
they,
you take all their money away, how are they gonna build a lift station?
That's their problem.
Their problem.
that's not our problem, Walter.
But you're in violation of the bonds.
No,
and
we've
you-
already contacted the bond council. We are perfectly legal here. We've contacted bond council, we have a path.
And
All
if they
of
have to
has
do that
taken
first,
place.
then they have to do it first.
And they're under a deadline right now of May to get the lift station done.
Any reason we don't leave the property anyway until the release?
This does put a lien on the property until it gets.
It already exists statutorily. I will give them, there's a provision here, it's interesting. It's handled just like a mechanic's lien. In fact, it even uses that same term, which is unusual, but it's a really simple process. You give them a 10-day notice and then you record the thing. It's pretty simple. Yeah, we haven't done that yet. I've just told them, this is the statute we're gonna proceed under. It's gonna be effectively a security interest, that they accept the fact that, back to my no ticking, no washing, if they don't pay, then we foreclose.
Right, and the first payment actually shows that they're on bond with agreement, so then that's additional recourse later as well. If they make that first original payment on the structure, then they're backing up the agreement on the actual payments.
You mean his point about the other structure or the taps?
Just on this.
Oh, this is just for taps?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but they don't get any taps. Even if they make the payment in April, they don't get any taps until they finish paying the full amount.
It doesn't matter what they build and what they tap. They can't send the sewage out because they need the lift station to send it.
Okay,
This is gonna be put in first.
yeah. And I've just been focused on this tap agreement, and that's where we are. So
Which they
FYI,
acknowledge,
folks, that's where
they
we are.
acknowledged in the meeting, they owe us the lift station. They acknowledge that, and they acknowledge they owe us the, and actually, the 1.5625 includes, they are actually paying our, the bond, the certificate, or the coupon, for that portion of the bond is what the extra money is for,
Gotcha.
to cover the, bond coupon portion.
Well, the other side of that is, they're gonna get interest earned on property values, if they don't build in 2 years, they're gonna be looking really nice on what home, what land value is gonna cost at that time anyway.
Mhm.
So it's a wash for them.
They wanted a pay-as-you-go, and the board does not accept that. It's, until it's fully paid, you don't get any
As
taps.
a community, we've already paid for it.
Yes.
Correct, this is it's actually, it's a negative double dip. A, they didn't pay the bill they should have paid, and B, we fronted their money for the facility.
And then based on the council of the board stating that this stays an enterprise, so that money that comes back in revenue, we already spent out of the board, out of the community into that money's gonna come back in and go to reserve for future.
The wastewater money would go back to, this money goes toward the bond. This is money that was part of that construction cost of that wastewater treatment.
So it brings our.
That's their 22%.
Generates cash to
Of
pay the
wastewater
bond
treatment.
balance rather than just coming out of the resources of the district.
Perfect, okay.
Okay, so everybody comfortable on where we are? You hear me all the time, trying to define an issue, which is what I've been trying to do here. Everybody
This has been going
clear
back
what we're
and
going on?
forth
Okay.
since, what,
All right.
August?
I think that's a great resolution.
So,
Perfect.
So if this was accepted, they can't back out of this. at
They
all.
can back out,
They can
but
back
we have a
out.
Right,
lien.
and then
But
there's
we'll have a
a
lien.
lien.
Then we have the mechanics lien, we can foreclose on it, we can end up with the whole subdivision, actually.
But they don't have like an amount of time or amount of hours that they can like re-propose another.
Well, anybody can propose anything, but this is gonna be scheduled in a contract, in an amendment to the IGA, supported by the statute and the forfeiture and the mechanics lien scenario.
I was just gonna lighten the mood real quick, just so you know, if that happens, and we'll have some land, we can actually put this building on.
I'd say now, if we foreclose on them, can we seek
What-
further,
what?
if we foreclose on them, can we seek further damages or get more money out of it?
I don't know the answer. It does say, all fees, rates, tolls, penalties, or other charges shall constitute a perpetual lien. So if you wanna play with those words.
Let's hope they
So
just
you're
agree to
billing them
this,
for a
and let's,
significant amount of money.
and let's just hope they pay what they owe
Yeah,
us, and.
that'd be the best, if they just
We
pay
can
it.
put this behind us,
Right,
so.
put the screws to it, just.
Well,
We just want what they owe.
if
I
they
mean,
pay what they
bottom line.
owe and build, then you gotta get money coming in to help pay for the sewage treatment plant and extra money for the facility.
Who's their lawyer? Colin Milky. Is it Sender and Vanderwall?
Yeah,
His
Cedar.
last name is
Cedar.
spelled M-I-E-L-K-E, Milky.
Okay, one
Here's his
other,
proposal.
let's see, we have another item here under other business. That was the report from our designated election official, dated 6th February 2020. Mr. Williams passed along this information stating that publication of call for nominations will occur in Ranchland News on Thursday. That's today, right?
Next.
Next Thursday?
Next Thursday,
Next
February
Thursday.
13th.
15th. Self-nomination forms are available on the district's website and at the district's office. Current candidates, there is one person who's put in a nomination packet, Brittany Menard, for a 3-year term position, and there have been no nomination packets returned for the 2-year term position. The deadline for those nominations is 28 February at 4:30 p.m. The mail ballot plan with details on many aspects of the election will be submitted to the board and made available to the public by Wednesday, March 11th. He's in discussions with El Paso County on using a 24/7 drop-off location to make it convenient for the district residents. All right. Any other business? Okay. All right, item 9, public comment regarding current board business not on the agenda.
Podium's okay.
Walter Porter? No? Okay.
District Porter, is the discussion about the pump that you're talking about, is that in the service plan? Where will I find it?
It's in the IGA.
It's the lift station. Thank you.
Because they wouldn't let us finish the bonds until that was.
Okay, so as I'm going forward with this, I'll bring that issue up as a part of the discussion. Okay?
Because if they draw sewage, they got no place to put it because they need a pump.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mrs. Newbill?
I was asked to read a statement from one of the residents. This is dated today, February 6, 2020, to the Woodman Hills Board of Directors. I was very dismayed and saddened upon hearing that you are not going to renew Corey's contract. In March, I will have been a resident of Woodman Hills for 2 years. During those 2 years, I have been extremely impressed with the events and programs put on by the Recreation Center. My grandson and I have thoroughly enjoyed decorating cookies with Santa, the Easter egg hunt with the fire department, the Valentine's tea, and the picnics and Oktoberfest, which I am told Corey helped with. There are a myriad of events that I was not able to take part in, but sounded really enjoyable, such as splash parties at the pool, family nights, back to school party at the pool, and movie nights. I was amazed when I heard that the once a month bingo nights are completely free to residents. Corey has truly dedicated herself to bringing quality programs to Woodman Hills to make this community closer. Not only does she have innovative ideas, but she is present at these events. She cares. In the year and a half I have been attending water aerobics, I have seen attendance rise from 3 to 5 people to at least 15 on a regular basis. Corey was instrumental in bringing Silver Sneakers to the rec center. The fitness and dance classes are booming. I have grave concerns that we will lose many of our programs and events without Corey at the helm. I know from speaking with many of my fellow residents that they will miss Corey as much as I will, and that they are also quite upset that she is being dismissed. As far as I know, there have been no reasons given for the non-renewal of her contract. I think we owe a huge debt of gratitude to Corey for her leadership and dedication during the past 2 years. She certainly deserves it. Sincerely, Merck Reif, resident.
Here, here. What are you doing?
I personally would like to add to that as a 10-year resident of Woodman Hills, the way that I saw the Recreation Center several years ago versus now has been a huge difference. I believe it's Corey's dedication to the community, and I, for one, am very disappointed in your decision.
Thank you. Mr. Pace.
Follow that. It's gonna be fun following that up. All right, let's move this thing up. Anybody got a joke about it? Go ahead and say it now. Okay, I'm Mr. Pace, 12058 Real Seeker Road. I'm gonna be a candidate, and for not the reasons people think I'm gonna be a candidate this year. I'm disappointed in this board's decision to dismiss or not renew Mrs. Gabardella's contract. But unlike a lot of other people, I did some research. I checked with the staff, I had discussions with them, I had discussions with people on Nextdoor, and I even have a message from Mr. Krebs that he is very disappointed in the fact that she's not being retained. I couldn't find a single person that had a negative thing to say about Mrs. Gabardella, not one. And I was stunned because I've had some negative interactions with her, but I've always made the statement, you treat people accordingly, and she's been treating me pretty well. So what I'm very disturbed in the fact that I know that there was complaints filed against individuals in this district that are employees, and I posted what I posted on purpose, because I don't post things without the facts. Here's 2 facts I know. One, we have a new general manager that was been made aware of employees' actions to the point where I actually was approached by a gentleman at a Safeway, and I didn't know him from a hole in the wall, to be honest with you. I just didn't know the guy, but he used to work here. He wasn't here that long, and stated that he had a very negative interaction with this particular employee. I've had 2 on video. I've actually been called by names by the employee, and my personal opinion, because I can't have the facts because I was hoping to get those so I could post it on my website, was is that we have a code of conduct, an employee handbook, we have a bylaws, and we have a few other things that weren't adhered to. And under the rule, no citizen in this district is ever to be treated disparagingly for any reason, even if they're being a jerk. But even when they're not, that's grounds for termination, and I've seen it happen here, more than once. So my question is, I'm hoping that what I now know, and what I've come to find out is, there was 6 complaints lodged, not just me. I'm hoping it's not a retaliatory situation, because if it is, and I get on the board, well, you know where I'm going with that. It's unacceptable. This codes of conduct for what he does for work, this codes of conduct for what he does for work. I don't know what you two do for work, but the point is, even nurses have codes of conduct. It's how to treat people. But what happened here over the last several months, and I've been part of it, I've witnessed it, I've complained about it. Then I heard someone say, well, you know, what do you want me to do about it? I'll tell you what I want you to do about it, your job. You got hired under contract to do something and you didn't do it. What's disappointing to me is, I wasn't gonna run this year until this happened. I've had people demand that I run for justice, and no, that's happening. And unfortunately, hopefully that translates into a win based on what I now know. And what I now know is that this board may be disconnected to the point where they're just not listening. Whether you like my voice or not, it's not going away. So unfortunately, it's either you settle down, have a meeting, and figure out what it is. If I'm lying, then don't. But I'm gonna be in receipt of the documentation I need. And if it's true, then we have a situation. And I hope it wasn't retaliatory. I hope it wasn't having to do anything else. But if I find out that it is later on, then I think there should be some reparations commensurate with the action. Thanks.
I will answer your question. First of all, you sent a video in that had no audio. So based on that video and what that employee was out there to do, which was to put no parking signs up, and to get license plate number of people placing large billboard signs in that no parking area, that's what he was out there to do. Now, if you have evidence showing that he made some kind of comment to you, then the board will take that under advisement. The general manager has already ruled on that. We've sent several complaints through the district to an outside HR agency through the SDA for a response on those. We don't handle those. We send them to an outside HR agency through the SDA so that it stays 100% outside of the district's hands, to answer your question. Now, that doesn't excuse the fact that you constantly harass the district staff by email, sending vulgar emails to them demanding that they answer you immediately, and demanding documents through the email channel instead of through Cora. Not to mention that in just the last month alone, you've cost this district about $7,000 in all the requests. And then you turn around and when they say that they're researching the request, you say, oh, never mind. I don't want the documents anymore. I'll get them in court. Well, if you're gonna sue us, Mr. Pace, sue us.
Are you so, I want to make something clear, because rebuttal's warranted here. First off, I made requests for a perfectly legal document. You guys think this is funny, it's not funny.
I don't think it's funny because
No,
you're costing
you do think
me
it's
and
funny. You
these
got him
people money.
laughing. Well, you didn't let me finish. So I asked for records that I know you guys are supposed to have. You told me I couldn't have them. Then you turned around and said you didn't have them. Then you said they were protected by attorney-client, which isn't true. The IRS got involved and said, wait a minute, those documents are public. And all the documents I've been asking for are public. So if you want to sit here and poke fun at me, you do that, Mr. Stinson. You're the
So
one who comes off
I
looking
will-
like a jerk. Now,
I
as
will
far as
answer
the
your
$7,000 is concerned,
Hang on, point of order.
why is
I'm
it
gonna answer
costing
your question.
us? Why
No.
is it costing us
Point
$7,000?
of order.
Because you're sending them to him.
Point of order. Okay, I'm gonna
Point of
answer
order.
that right now.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you. This is our board of directors and the community's board of directors. And you come in here month in, month out, and you go and you demean everybody, even these past board members, down to the county commissioners, down to the city council, and everybody else, and you threaten you're gonna sue everybody. Well, if you're gonna sue us, sue us.
I'm working on
You
this.
spend
since I
enough
told
of
you
our
that.
money.
Mr. Stinson,
You
and
spend
filing an
enough of our
injunction
money.
is an easy thing to do, I told you that, but look at you. You're upset, you're pissed off.
I'm not.
And you know what?
At all.
Here's the issue, you got an ego bigger than the room, and that's your problem. So if you had just given me the documents that you had said you were going to, we wouldn't have this argument now, but hey, We'll see
We
what happens
offered
after
you the
the election.
documents.
Don't, and hold on.
And you refused to pay for them
Hold
according
on,
to
hold on.
court.
I said I wouldn't pay extortion money because I asked to review the old copies that you said I already had, which records I don't have.
But
they
then
were
you go out there
denied.
and you tell the community,
Hold on, Mr.
you're half
Stinson.
of the story.
Mr. Stinson, there's not half of the story. You didn't read all of the emails. Okay? So again, come across however you want. You can come at me however you want. It doesn't bother me, because I know who you are. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Fagan.
No, you're very welcome.
I still love you.
No, I'm not. Mr. Stinson, I
I've
think.
never treated you bad.
Oh, yes, you have, Mr. Stinson.
Yes, sir.
Why do we have an employee putting no parking signs on county property?
Because the county said we could put the no parking.
That's not true. That is absolutely a lie.
It's true.
No, it isn't, because I actually talked to the head of the DOT. You put the signs in and then you got permission. And I will absolutely, yes, you did.
Actually, we did, and
And
we have
hold on, hold
documents to
on.
prove it.
Regardless of the fact, if he needed to come and look
Okay,
at
we're
something,
done.
hold on. There's no law against putting signs up.
Okay.
Is there? So, have fun, Mr. Stinson.
I believe it'd be in the
Yeah.
record that we had residents come and complain about the truck traffic that was being parked there. And so we went to the county and they told us to put signs up. They would enforce it, but we had to put the signs up.
Otherwise, you're just gonna keep
I
this
know,
going.
I know. Okay.
That was just my curiosity, that was.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Being a public employee, I know you can't put signs in somewhere.
No, we asked permission, they gave us permission. They,
In writing?
yes, so. Okay, I motion we adjourn. Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. We're adjourned.
Mr. Porter. You want to make sure that I